Iowa will vacate wins from the 2023 season after the NCAA ruled that head coach Kirk Ferentz and assistant coach John Budmeyer had tampered with the recruitment of a 2022 quarterback in November prior to his joining the program in December 2022. And, well, we can put two and two together and infer that that is Caden McNamara. Let's talk about what this means for the 2023 season, what this means for Kirk Ferentz and his Big Ten record. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year-round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that the NCAA's decision to vacate 2023 wins, basically the season for Iowa, is over the top and or unfair? Iowa appealed the decision for tampering with Caden McNamara, even as Ferentz stood in front of media in, I believe, 2025, playing against Illinois State, saying, look, I broke a rule, recruiting violation. I'm going to sit out a game, as did Budmeyer. They thumped Illinois State 40-0. It didn't really matter, right? What did is, when McNamara was starting for Iowa, they got off to a great start. They went 4-1, and then he blew out his ACL. You put together the rest of that season, and you can come to a place where you begin to understand the implications of this for Ferentz and his legacy. Ferentz, who has been head coach at Iowa for 27 years, and they have been mostly good years, all 27 of them. They don't play for championships regularly. They haven't sniffed the college football playoff, and they're more renowned last year for what they were able to do against teams that were good, like Indiana, where they had that team on the ropes. Between them and Penn State, I don't think anybody else came even close to handing Indiana a loss in the regular season, and only Ohio State came close in the Big Ten championship. The thing you're going to know about Kirk Ferentz football teams is they're going to play really, really outstanding defense. Phil Parker's defense coordinator. They root for punting because it means the offense didn't make a mistake, and the offense is never going to be one that airs the ball out and puts a bunch of points on the board. One of my favorite anecdotes about Kirk Ferentz is 2009 season had a quarterback that was not terrible, but they threw the ball over the yard. Had twice as many TDs as he had interceptions. And a few years later, in a year where they played for the Big Ten championship, we're talking about Ferentz getting a little hot under his collar because, well, he thought they got away from running the football, and we had a quarterback that turned the ball over too much. That's who Kirk Ferentz is. That's who Kirk Ferentz is going to be forevermore. Amen. So the recruitment of a player like Caden McNamara to the program then and now makes a lot of sense. McNamara, who came from a Michigan squad that had just the year before, he'd led to the college football playoff for the first time. They'd won a Big Ten championship. They were good. The knock on Caden McNamara is that he didn't want to force the ball downfield. He didn't want to put the offense in situations where he might throw it in an interception. And because he didn't want to do any of those things, the offense would stall out if somebody just bailed in coverage. He would dink and dump and mostly try to let the run game catch up. And then they go play action pass and see if he can hit anything. He was never going to throw for 1,000,000 yards, but he was going to take care of the football, and he was a charismatic leader. Both of those things Kirk Ferentz values probably more than any other Power 4 coach in the sport. Like, I think you could actually show Kirk Ferentz tape of a guy who's an outstanding quarterback prospect with great arm talent, and he might look at him and ask, okay, so is he throwing into these coverages? Because I don't want him throwing into those coverages. I want him to eat the ball or dump it down. And in today's NFL and college football, you don't see any of that. Like the days of Rich Gannon and that offense, or even parts of the West Coast offense that are built around short passing game, are not as important as they once were, because we know that, analytically, we know throwing the ball downfield is worth the risk. It's like shooting 3-pointers in college basketball or the NBA. It's worth the risk. If you can hit even 4 out of 10 3-pointers, you're devastating on offense. If you can hit 4 out of 10 of your deep passes, like things past 25 yards, probably devastating on offense. The risk there, though, is that you can be intercepted and be incomplete. Barry Switzer had a famous line when he ran the wishbone, talking about throwing the football. He said, look, only three things can happen when you throw the football, and 2 of them are bad. Right? Now, to the point about Kirk Ferentz and what this does for his legacy, I think this is interesting because last year, Ferentz became the all-time winningest head coach Big Ten history, surpassing Woody Hayes at Ohio State. Record is something like 217 wins, I want to say. Excuse me. Yes. But if they take 213 wins, 128 losses in 27 years. But if they take these wins away, and they are, right, he goes to 209, entering the 2026 season when Iowa opens up against Northern Illinois. Huskies know that better than I do, but there it is. It still puts him on top of the all-time list, though, because Woody Hayes is at 205. But I kind of always think it's interesting when the NCAA decides to vacate wins, because this punishment, for me, is worse than the punishment that Michigan received for cheating. I genuinely believe that the thing you can do to upset fans most is to vacate wins. The thing that you can do to upset the program most is suspend a head coach and fine the program. Take recruiting advantages away, right? As a person that does not play and does not coach like many of you, I don't really care that Kirk Ferentz was not on the sideline against Illinois State. Doesn't matter, because we know they were going to beat Illinois State. When Michigan saw Jim Harbaugh suspended for recruiting violations and the cheating scandal in the same year, it didn't really matter for the play on the field, because the outcome is the outcome. That is why we watch the game. We watch the game so that we can see players play and we can see the outcome and we can remember the outcome. Our sport is powered by nostalgia more than any other sport in the United States. And I'm even going to put baseball in there. We remember, right? So it's like vacating the wins 2005 season USC, right? Reggie Bush and them. Our memories are our memories there. And we don't really care that you wanted to come after Reggie Bush. We don't think you should have, but you did. We don't really care what fines might hit a millionaire head coach or a multi-hundreds of millions of dollars program. We don't care. What we care most about is those wins. So I'm going to say that Iowa is being made an example of because tampering has reached a point where many of the coaches have just said enough, right? But would I have vacated the wins for this? No. I would have probably picked another whipping boy, not named Iowa, who went to go get Cade McNamara, man, and not in an untoward fashion. Dude announced that he was committing on December 1, 2022, and that might have been the thing that did them in. That might have been it. But is that as important to the game as what Connor Stallions in Michigan had engineered? No, it is not. It is wildly unfair. And the more I think about it, the more incensed I get about it. And I don't mean to throw Michigan fans under the bus here. I mean to say the NCAA has been uneven with this punishments since it's been allowed to give them out. And this is yet another example of them being just that. If we're going to do this kind of thing for a Cade McNamara, what are we going to do for a Luke Farrelly at Ole Miss? Right? Dabo's not letting that one go. And you can do that all over. I'm sure Washington would love to know who Damon Williams was talking to that convinced him to tell everybody he was going to the transfer portal without actually doing it and then not talking to Washington. We would all like some accounting here. But this for Iowa? Come on, man. That's rough.